This is the proposed Mall of Asia to EDSA Taft aerial cable car line. This is part B of a series of videos that will be devoted to this line. Expandability. In the case of the monorail, the SM globe located in this monorail station needs to be removed. The massive monorail station blocks the beautiful facade of MOA. In the case of an ART, the beauty of the SM globe, rotunda, and MOA facade is preserved. The MOA monorail station is located on top of the MOA rotunda. An ART can do the same as shown in this La Paz ART station in Bolivia. This ART station is as massive as the monorail station. There are commercial spaces in the station to take advantage of the high foot traffic in the ART station with passengers going in and out in 4 directions. In the case of the MOA ART station, there is no need for commercial spaces since MOA and its surrounding commercial spaces are 50 times bigger than the commercial spaces inside the ART station shown here. The deboarding and boarding platforms and the track switching infrastructure of the monorail will occupy much of the rotunda, leaving very little space for commercial establishments. Even if the ART will be able to serve more passengers and directions at the interchange, its required land for the station is much smaller than that required of the monorail interchange. SM Prime has an ongoing 360-hectare reclamation project behind MOA. This may have been the reason MOA monorail station has 3 spokes. 2 of these spokes may be intended to go to the island reclamation project. It cannot take a shortcut to the island because MOA Mall gets in the way. In the case of an ART system, it can have 4 spokes similar to the Murillo ART station in La Paz, Bolivia. This station is bigger because of more commercial spaces inside the station compared to other La Paz ART stations with lesser number of spokes. The advantage of an ART is more apparent in this photo. To reach the new reclamation area, the monorail has to follow a road. The ART can take a shortcut towards the new reclamation, or it can take an alternative shortcut towards the center of the reclamation project. In 2016, at the start of the Duterte administration, Doppelmayr presented a proposal for an ART network in Metro Manila. Doppelmayr is the world's largest manufacturer of cable-propelled transit systems. The proposal included a MOA Taft airport alignment. In several TV interviews, DOTR Secretary Arthur Tugade promoted the use of ART. The proposal did not attract any private investors that could have built an ART system under the PPP program of the government. The main reason is likely the lack of understanding of Filipinos on the benefits of an ART system. This is the MOA airport line on a satellite map. This shows how easy and cheaper it is to expand the MOA EDSA Taft line to the airport. If it were a monorail, it would have to go above LRT1, above the flyover, and go above the NAIA Expressway. One of the reasons it is difficult or expensive to expand rail-based mass transport systems in a dense city like Metro Manila is their limitation to climb slopes. They are limited to travel a slope of only 7 degrees. One of the reasons of this limitation is that trains are designed to allow standing passengers to maximize capacity. A train set in a mass transport system travels at relatively high speeds. It needs to often decelerate and accelerate to navigate curves. It needs to do the same to depart and arrive at a station. This is repeatedly done many times during travel, as the average distance between stations is only 1 to 2 kilometers. Traveling this way on a steep slope can cause standing passengers to be off balance. Passengers can fall on top of each other, resulting in injuries or deaths. In contrast, ART travels in straight lines and at constant speed. There is no sway and jerking during travel between stations. The passenger cabin is always level and stable. This is made possible by a hinge below the attachment to the cable. ART systems can travel at a slope of up to 53 degrees. In the case of the proposed MOA monorail, the monorail has to have a pivot distance to create an acceptable slope that will let the train set travel safely above the Rojas Boulevard elevated road. If the monorail is extended to the airport, the train set needs to travel above the LRT-1 line. Proceeding to the airport, there is another elevated road, the NAIA Expressway, that needs to be overcome. Afterwards, it can travel in a gradual downward slope towards the airport station. Because of these limitations, most of the alignment of the monorail will be higher than the current elevations of existing elevated roads and elevated LRTs. The higher elevation results in higher construction costs. These are two more examples of a monorail that is elevated so high to overcome structures. This will result in a huge increase in construction cost. In contrast, ART can easily overcome structures that stand in the way of an alignment at minimal construction costs. ART can go up and down, overcoming structures in any direction. This capability of an ART system allows it to find an alignment that is more economical to build and operate. This is an actual example of an ART line in Ankara, Turkey, flying over high-rise buildings. One tower on the foreground can be seen here flying over a 14-story building. The height of this building can easily be counted from first floor to the roof. It is estimated that 4 more stories can be added to reach the maximum clearance of 6 meters between the roof and the bottom of the cabin. This is the MOA Airport line overlain on Google Maps. The airport ART station connects with the airport subway station. The projected daily ridership of the subway is 519,000. Many of the passengers from the subway will go to the highly popular amenities of MOA, as it would take only 12 minutes. 10 to 15 years from now, the MOA to airport line may experience severe passenger congestion. Many high-rise buildings will start to occupy the 360-hectare SM reclamation project. Congestion can be solved by expanding the MOA airport line. 3 ART lines can be added perpendicular and parallel to the MOA line. The white circles are the needed interchanges. The purpose of interchanges is to allow passengers to deboard to transfer to another line. Transferring from one ART line to another ART line will take only 1 to 2 minutes. The following will be how the congestion will be avoided. Without ART expansion, this will be the route from MRT3 to MOA. With the ART expansion, passengers can avoid the congestion between MOA and EDSA Taft by taking this alternate route. Similarly, this will be the route from LRT1 South Extension to MOA. With the ART expansion, passengers can avoid the congestion between MOA and EDSA Taft by taking this alternate route. This will be the route from LRT1 to MOA. With the ART expansion, passengers can avoid the congestion between MOA and EDSA Taft by taking this alternate route. This will be the route from Manila Subway to MOA. With the ART expansion, passengers can avoid the congestion between MOA and airport by taking this alternate route. To solve mass transportation congestion in other parts of Metro Manila, the same method of creating parallel, perpendicular, and alternate ART lines may be applied. In most cases, only an ART system can do it easily, cheaply, and quickly. Costs. The parts of a monorail are very complex. There are 4 traction motors in each train coach to propel it. For a 6-coach train, there are 24 motors. This is a photo of a monorail showing its complex mechanisms that need to be inspected and maintained regularly. The energy required to propel a monorail is divided into two parts, namely the passenger train cabin and the weight of the propulsion mechanism. The propulsion mechanism needs an enormous amount of electricity to propel a train set because it is very heavy. In a 6-train coach monorail, you will need 24 electrical motors to propel it. For 2 train sets that will service back and forth between MOA and EDSA Taft, you will need 48 motors. In an ART, the propulsion system and the passenger cabins are separated. The passenger cabin is just a thin shell of metal and glass. Being very light, 150 cabins can be rotated around a loop between 2 stations by using just one large electric motor. In a monorail, there are so many rubber wheels that grind along the tracks throughout its trip. This creates friction that has to be overcome by additional electrical energy. In an ART, the cabins float in the air with no frictional losses. This is a photo of the motor that rotates all the cabins between 2 stations. Its size and length is about the size of the person in the foreground. For the reasons previously mentioned, a cable car uses the least amount of electricity in terms of kilowatt per hour per passenger. A bus consumes 18 times more. A metro or LRT consumes 9 times more. A tram, which looks like an LRT running on a ground surface, consumes 4 times more. From this illustration, it is very easy to see which system costs more to construct. These are the comparative sizes of the support columns. These are the comparative sizes of the tracks. Because the tracks of the monorail and metro are so heavy, the concrete columns have to be spaced around 30 meters apart. Because the cabins in an ART system are so light, the hollow steel columns or towers can be spaced 120 meters apart. It can even be placed up to 3 kilometers apart. Pros and cons of ART and monorail. This table shows the features of 21 existing urban monorails in the world. ART is often ridiculed as slow. The average speed of travel between stations of the latest model of ART is 25 kph. This is about 1/3 the common maximum speed of monorail, which is 80 kph. In an urban environment where distances between stations is only about 1 kilometer, 80 kph is rarely used. As an example, the average speed of these 4 monorails is only 30 kph. These are sample YouTube videos of the pros and cons of a monorail. These are some of the favorable YouTube videos on ART technology. Favorable articles on ART. More favorable articles. More favorable articles. And some more favorable articles. In conclusion, the overall benefits of cable cars is summarized in this article. Cable cars are changing the world.